My biggest issue, again, comes back to a democracy issue. And that's that no one should be allowed to medicate you without your permission.
What's the EU laws on medicating a population without
knowledge? I've asked the Commission about this, about mass medication like this, and they always say, well, that's not any of our business. They always beg off of it.
And is there other ways of also telling if a person has been drinking fluoride in their water for years to compare to a person who hasn't been?
You check their fluoride levels, You look at their teeth and see if they got fluorosis. I mean, 40% of young Irish people now have fluorosis. And so it can't be good for your teeth if people are, have some degree of fluoride.
It causes bone disease as well.
Yeah, well, see, it lodges. Fluoride, again, like I was saying with mercury, that when the body gets something very toxic, it's like when you break glass. Do you just throw it into the bin? No, because somebody's going to pick up that bin and cut themselves. You wrap it in newspaper. And that's what your body does. So with fluoride, it does the same thing. It locks it down. It doesn't want it circulating because it could hit your brain, it could hit your heart, it could... So it gets rid of what it can, and what it can't, it locks down into bone, teeth, these stable sort of things, but it damages them.
Yeah, and if you're exposed to too much of it, it does get around your body, it does go into your brain.
Yeah, oh, I know, it affects, but your body does its best to protect you, so it will sacrifice your bones to protect your liver, for instance, because you'll die if your liver goes, but you'll live longer with your bones. So over a lifetime, and I wondered, everybody with their bad hips and their bad knees, and that if this is this slow bioaccumulation.
How's Ireland doing in that category?
Well, we have a lot of skeletal problems.
You have a lot of skeletal problems
in Ireland, yeah.
70% of the country has fluoridated
water. Yeah. So there are more dangerous, there are less dangerous fluorides, but it's not something we should be taking anything extra, any avoidable sources of fluoride, and it's not something we can totally avoid because there's naturally occurring fluoride, but you should avoid as much of it as you can.
Yeah. The one that the fluoride being put into our water, that's an industrial byproduct from...
It's waste, it's hazardous waste, which if the Irish government didn't buy it and put it in our water, the company would actually have to
dump it somewhere
and pay a lot of money to dump it carefully. Yeah.
The Irish government buys that from a company in Wexford, is it?
Well, I can't say where they buy it today. I think it's probably still a fertilizer factory in Wexford, but certainly that is where they were buying it for many years. Is from an artificial fertilizer factory in County Wexford. It's being dumped
into our bodies. That's how they get rid of it.
Yeah.
And probably in your research or fluoride, you probably came across that was used by the Russians in concentration camps and also the Nazis in concentration camps.
I have read that. That they found that it just kept people calm. So I have read that. I mean, I don't know if the people who put it in our water have ever read it. They may not even know that. But it is significant and
pacifies the people.
Calms people. So, but where we have gotten an interesting development is that the Irish government, if you read the legislation, because there's actually legislation around fluoride, put it in for medicinal reasons, for our teeth. Yet I wrote to the Irish Medical Board, or the Irish Medicines Board last year, and I asked them, had they ever reviewed fluoride? Had they ever given it approval? And they said it's never been sent to them. So the law says it's there as a medicine, yet you cannot have any medicine in Ireland that hasn't been through the Irish Medicines Board and it was never sent to them.
Is fluoride banned in other countries to be put into the water?
It's not in the water in other countries. They just don't do it.
They don't do it.
They don't.
Yeah.
And the one
all of them have bad teeth.
No, their teeth are beautiful. Yeah, no, they're fine. They're fine. No, in fact, the last place in Europe, with a few exceptions, and then of course some of the cities in England and some of the areas in England, the last place in continental Europe, as I say, barring a few exceptions, where that was fluoridated was one of the Swiss cantons, and about 2-3 years ago they ended their fluoridation scheme, and they basically just said their teeth is no better than anyone else's. And that there was no reason to put fluoride in, and they stopped it.